Exactly. All right. The questions were asked: who is helping Hollywood tell better, more diverse stories? How are they doing it? What is Hollywood currently getting right? And what is it still getting wrong? Everyone wants good diversity, but good and diversity can look different to various identities, according to Rashad Robinson, Executive Director of Color of Change. So, what are your thoughts about cultural representations and the way casting is changing? Okay, we're gonna go deep into some
Yeah.
to this topic.
Mama listening to you go through that thing. I'm like, oh, you got through it.
I, I got through it. Like the nerd sweat was just really getting.
You're so funny. Yeah, I mean, this is a hot topic and one that being a white woman in this industry, I want to be so sensitive to the fact that I know Hollywood in a lot of instances have really got it wrong
Mm,
over the years and historically. And, I respect the fact that there are certain stories that just need to be told the right way.
right.
And I think now casting is starting to get a little bit more comfortable with opening up those doors. And if that hand needed to be pushed, then it was about time that it was. And, you know, when I go through my process of submitting for projects and things like that, self submitting to things, it could be very easy to be like, well, I fit everything in that breakdown except for the ethnicity, but maybe I'll still submit myself anyway in case they want to go in another direction. I just have far too much respect for all parties to even put myself in the mix when I know that could be taking that opportunity away from somebody who ethnically was what they were looking for. And
Mm,
so, I think that it's important to look at all roles with a color neutral eye, if you will. But I think there's certainly some stories that just need to be historically accurate in terms of who's playing these roles and making sure that culturally they're depicted the way in which they were intended.
right. I know on this channel we've talked a little bit about things like casting, like how nowadays people won't they want people to if you're casting a certain role, if a certain role was written a certain way, like for a character with a certain background, they want the actor to actually have that background, and things like that. Or like in voice acting, we've talked about that. How now people want people only want, no matter how long you've been playing the part, if the character is black, then it shouldn't be voiced by a white person and things like that. And I remember because like I used to, when I joked about nerd sweat, because I am a nerd, I'm a geek, I'm into my like my Star Wars and stuff like that.
You're a
So
little bit of a nerd and a
all right,
geek.
all right. So I wanted to like get in a little trouble, or what's been called lately good trouble, where I threw a monkey wrench into the whole thing on purpose because I knew what they would do. I knew the hypocrisy would come out for some of my friends. So I was having a conversation with somebody, and they were like, it's great that that the person who voices Apu from The Simpsons, this was years before it started becoming cool to talk about this stuff. He quit before it became a hot topic, or more of a hot topic today. And I said, okay, but what about a character like, I don't know, Darth Vader, who is technically white, but voiced by James Earl Jones? Technically, shouldn't he? And then you wouldn't believe the panic that set into a bunch of my Star Wars friends. Like,
Oh,
no,
sure.
you can't do it. It's like, so okay, like because I'm trying to understand. So if we're trying to, because I agree with with what you're saying, and I know the history of it, and I just felt like messing with my friends' heads who I knew for a fact would never give up James Earl Jones with Darth Vader. But it's you're right. It's an issue, I guess, or it's more of an issue nowadays. I guess moving forward, me personally, I guess moving forward, I don't have a problem with it. And if an actor who's like voicing or playing a role or whatever, that's if you've already been cast with it before, like the voice actors for like Cleveland Brown from the Family Guy, was voiced by a white actor, but he quit and he gave it. He let a black person is now doing that, and I don't know. I'm okay with it if you want to, if they volunteer for it, but and then moving forward, if they hire the voices that I guess that are fitting to the character, but when it's when people try to like go back in time and shame people who probably aren't even don't even aren't even with us anymore. It's like it's that becomes weird to me. It's like you want to shame an actor for work that he did in the 50s and the 60s, and that person's not even alive anymore. It's like who like it's like I don't think people are. I think people need to just like move. We need to be moving forward and focus on making, I guess, making things better or whatnot. But I don't like it when they try to go back in time and try to shame people who are probably long gone
Oh
and
yeah.
things like that. So I think there's a more of a balance that needs to come out of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling about nothing. I don't.
No, I mean, it makes sense. Bill Burr just opened up on Saturday Night Live and had a bit that was kind of, alluding to that. They're like, can you believe what so and so said back in 1933? And he's like,
Like yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It was 1933.
that's how they talked then.
Yeah.
Was it right?
No.
No. But have you ever like let your grandma go off on a tangent and you're like, whoa, grandma, keep making the cookies? That
Yeah.
was like kind of
Exactly.
the
Yeah. Keep that under. Yeah. Back in my day, yeah. You don't want to. Yeah. I mean, even in my house, you don't want to hear my grandmother open up with one of those stories. But
no,
back in my day.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. And you met Ronnie before. He does a one-man show on Lenny Bruce, and Lenny Bruce had an infamous N-word bit as part of his material, and on the surface that is very offensive to everybody, but if you really listen to what it is that he was trying to say, it was very, he embraced all people, and his intention was that there's certain things that when it comes to words, or in this case the context of material and represented material that's representative of certain ethnicities,
Mm.
it's not so much the context as it is the intention. So if people aren't casting because their intention is to whitewash a project, then that's offensive. But if the opportunity is that they're looking to get the right fit for the project, and it's a very tricky line to be able to walk, especially at this stage. And I think that if there's the opportunity to be truthful to the script and to the project, then it's absolutely necessary to be able to do that.
Right.
And there's enough for everybody. There's enough to go around for everybody. So why would I want to take that opportunity away from somebody when there's something that's a much better fit for me out there as well.
Are you if Lenny Bruce was alive today? You think his how would you think he'd be attacked by cancel culture?
Oh, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because that's one of the things that he talks about: cancel culture versus Ronnie Marmo also refers to it as a council culture. So who can, should we be so quick to say you did this one thing wrong, so you're out, versus here's this one thing that you did wrong. How can we use that to educate not only you, but other people who might also feel the same? So I happen to agree with that. I don't think that people are the sum of the mistakes that they're made, but I think that there's certainly room for people to be accountable for those mistakes and acknowledge them, because there are people, that just didn't know any better.
Right.
And that's not to take away from the people who did wrong and knew that was happening, because that's where the real issue is: canceling that sort of environment in society and making sure we don't go back to that. We need to grow from there. There's no room for that in our world.
Right.
But I think that there's a real teaching opportunity available to us if we can open our eyes and embrace that. And I think everyone's so scared right now that they're quick to cancel. They're very quick to cancel, because that's the quickest way to remove themselves from the situation instead of discover how we can learn and grow from it.
Yeah, that leads into that whole what's that old saying about people who don't learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. If we are just canceling everything, or like you said, all the time, and not just learning from it, it eventually it'll the problem will poke its head out somewhere else. So it's I don't know. People are just so impatient. They just want to rip the band-aid off and just throw it away in the garbage. And I don't that's a problem. I don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one way to handle it. Or we can try to work together and see if there's any kind of resolution that we can coexist or live and let live kind of a thing. Because those handling things that way, I think solves the problem. If there is a problem, solves any issues. I guess is a better way of putting it. Better than just I don't agree with you, so you shouldn't exist. I'm like, that's like, I'm not. You're not. This is not I Dream a Genie. You're not just gonna magically make me vanish because you don't agree with me. So let's
Yeah.
see if there's any kind of common ground. But I think nowadays people are just more impatient.
We'll get back, I hope. We were so far in one direction, and now we were so far in the other to try to mitigate the situation. But I think ultimately what all of us want is peace of mind. And so, the more we're on the same page and can talk about it and have conversations like this, the more we'll, find our even keel common ground, so to speak, and all be better. Because I think we just need to be better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. I totally agree. All right, man, we're doing some real some good work here today. Just some therapy sessions, right?
Digging right on in.
People were like, I thought this was entertainment news. Like, I'll,
What
I'll,
happened?
I'll crack a joke every now and then. Okay, I'm
They're
like,
like, I need a potty break. My
right
God.
there you go. Let's do a potty joke in there. There we go. Every 15 minutes, just poop.
When in doubt, poop jokes.